What is it that makes every woman weak at the knees, makes every man run to his death just for the sake of it? What makes two people come together in union? What makes a man pray every single night for that which is out of his clammy, pasty, incel brass? True love. Perfect, selfless, passionate love from the bottom of their heart. That's right, baby. We're talking about Agalma. Now, I haven't made a video in a while. Things have just been busy. But I think it's a good thing because I've had some time to think about this video. I've had some time to think about Agalma. And Agalma is a very, very underrated divinity in the Within the Ring of Fire community. Criminally underrated. Um, and honestly, I was not a significant fan of Agalma. However, as I've done more thinking and more reading into it, I have come to the conclusion that this is a very interesting divinity. A divinity who I would very much like to play a follower or preferably cleric of in a game. I think a cleric of hers would make a fantastic addition to a political game. I generally would not be particularly interested in a more travel based game and a more adventure based game, combat heavy and all that. It just wouldn't get the themes out of the game I want. But certainly in a political or urban adventure or something that's going to take place in one area where you know that where your work and the permanence of what you do really holds value. But yeah, I find her really interesting, and I would love to play a follower of hers. And so, what is a Galma? A Galma is one of three apotheosi, well, one of the three divinities in Within the Ring of Fire who achieved divinity through apotheosis, meaning they were not an entity that is such as a god or a or an elder creator or something like that. They were not an entity like that who achieved a position or who was they are not gods or elder creators. They are not designed for the position of divinity, but they achieved it through either their own actions or unique circumstances surrounding them. Now, the other two apotheosis, there is a mortal, Lapdith, the queen of lies, who became a divinity through becoming a vampire through a curse, studying her curse, and then drinking the blood of Nith, and then consuming two gods, Ishme, the goddess of hope, and Thog Calix, the original god of lies, the fox. He has many names, a spirit, or more accurately, 66 spirits meant to serve, uh, who devoured each other in hopes of becoming the avatar of Ahura Mazda, after which they were cast into hell, and he now has become a divinity through the sheer spiritual power that he has just based on all that which he has consumed. But Agalma is unique. Agalma is not someone who has taken divinity. Agalma is not even among the divinities as interested in divinity. Um, she was a statue that was imbued with so much love from her creator, and then also the spiritual power of the gift that was given to her creator by he who has many names. So she is, I gotta stop saying that. She is a statue, an inanimate object who became not only sentient, but divine through pure, true love and the expenditure of great divine energy. And she is the divinity, naturally, of statues and true, perfect love. Not love broadly, but specifically that true love. She is the divinity of masonry, so not just statues, but building things of stone, constructing things. And she is, at least in her own mind, maybe not perhaps directly in her dominions, but the new divinity of the Ferrum species. She is not. She is not born from any elder creator per se, but rather she was constructed by a Ferrum, by the, gosh, I forgot his name. I actually, I'm so embarrassed. A Ferrum by the name of Oslu, who much like the ancient Greek stories, was a man who could not find the one he loved. Uh, he could not find a Ferrum woman whom he could relate to. This was a man who looked about the world much like the great currently living Ferrum Paleskek. Uh, and he looked about the world and he saw that his once proud race was given to prostitution, boozing, drugs, crime, degeneracy. And he tried. He tried to reach out to them. He tried to help bring them up. But these degenerate peasants would not listen. And so he made someone who would. This beautiful statue who he could relate to, who he could speak of about all the horrendous goings on of the Ferrum people. And this statue was a beautiful Ferrum woman, lovely, strong, stout, beautiful, curvy. And he would speak to her. And after a while, he fell in love. He began imagining this statue as the sort of Ferrum woman he could hope for. And in his dreams, so usually unimaginative and basic for the Ferrum people, he was an exception. in his dreams, in his imaginings. He could see her and she would speak to him. She would tell him, I love you, Oslu. I know what you mean. I know the state of the Farum people. So Oslu prayed to any divinity he could, but nothing happened, for he still wore a beard, much like I do, but much bigger and more glorious. And simply no divinity was interested in wasting their mysticism, their power on giving some incel his perfect waifu. And so he went to a crossroads, as he had heard in the myths and legends, and he said, I would do anything for love. I would do anything. Ooh, in the name of King Manticore. See my love come to life. And he and his pleas were answered by a shadowy figure who met him on the crossroads and asked him, do you mean anything? Oslu, he said, yes, anything. And the shadowy figure said, you speak of a willingness to make great sacrifice. Anything means anything. Would you give even your soul for the sake of your love? And Oslu, he said again, by the gods, I say anything, even my soul. And woo, by God, the shadowy figure listened and smiled, a mouth full of perfect, pearly white teeth, and said, Oslu, your wish is my command. Your beloved Agalma, for that shall be her name, shall be made real. But upon your death, I will come to collect your soul. Now go, run to your love. Run to her as fast as your legs can carry you, Oslu. And so Oslu ran, and he ran at a breakneck 3 miles per hour back to his home, his masoned home. For Oslu was a skilled mason, and though he was poor, he worked well with what he had. And he came, and he saw the statue, and he embraced her. And as she came to be, she fell and crushed Oslu, after which he was dragged down to the pits of hell by he who has many names, himself. For now he is forever given visions of his love, but kept from her while he boils in a pot and counts gold forever. But Agalma, she awoke and she felt love for her creator and husband who had been taken from her by the devil. And she felt that power coursing through her, and she felt that love, not hate. Though she opposes he who has many names and wishes to destroy him, it is driven by love. And she felt that coursing through her, empowering her, and she saw the Farum people. She saw the people who, just like her, are taken advantage of and used and harmed by this great and mighty evil spirit, this mockery of an angel. And she knew what she had to do, and she came to the Pharaoh people. She revealed herself to them, not in the far-flung lands of spirit, in dreams and vision, but in raw physical reality. She stood to them as a statue, and she said, I love you. I love you, for you are the people of my beloved Oslu, who I wish nothing more than to release from his pit in the oubliette so that he can bring me and all of you up. And many of the Pharaoh people, they did not listen. But many of them, they heard her words. They looked at their homes. They looked at their broken lives. And they said, okay. And now, bearded pharaohs, even anti-theists, worship Agalma because she loves them. That is the story of Agalma. That is what she is. No parentage of an elder creator, but not even an immortal, but a creation of a mortal, imbued with love by that mortal, and thus love for the mortals, for the Pharaoh people. And that is what makes her so beautiful and intriguing. She is an underdog fighting against the forces of hell with the desire to save her people, with the desire, the people who created her, for though she is a statue and though she is divine, she is also, in a way, a pharaoh. And she does not get this worship through power on high. She does not see herself above the pharaohs. She does not see herself as better. She sees herself as part of them. She does not see her as their creator, their master. She does not see them as there for her. No, she was created by one of them. She is a divinity who has come to serve, the pharaohs and save all of them, but especially Oslu, from hell. All right, so what is an Agalmite going to be like? These are hardworking people. These are masons. These are artists, but practical artists. These are workers. These are builders. But these are also lovers. These are people who know tragedy. For Agalma is the divinity of tragedy. These are people who have suffered but see something in this tragedy worth fighting for. It's not sad if the world's hopeless. You can't really bitch if there's just nothing you can do. It's sad because there is hope, because the world is fucked and it doesn't have to be. There's a way out. It could be better. And these are people who see that, even though they are so often tainted by their Pharaoh stubbornness. There's not only Pharaohs who worship Agalma. Sentimental Vigishes and humans and ogres have come around, and even a few Aurons intrigued by this being who's so much like them, who has a story so similar to them, and who perhaps see the lie that the great angel is telling their goddess and realize this is not right. This taking of souls and tormenting them, this is not natural. And so they turn to Agalma and they learn what sentimentality and what love is. These Aurons, they learn these things that do not come natural to them. Even a few Chthons come around, interested in this idea of love, although it's a far more communal thing. for the Chthon people, and there are those created by followers of Agalma, living, thinking statues who realize that they are created beings of mortals and thus feel that gratitude for these supposedly weaker beings in the way that Agalma does. So, very easy to play this up as a protagonist. You're gonna be an underdog. You're fighting against something that can, from a lot of perspectives, be truly acknowledged as genuinely evil. I mean, you have Legion torturing people whose only crime was being extremely desperate. So you can play up this tragedy, this desire to make the world better. And it can also work really well in those politics, in those city building games, as you have an individual, a talented builder who's pragmatic and hardworking and thoughtful and wants to build something and knows exactly how fucked up the world is and knows how to play in that mud pile and isn't afraid to get his hands dirty, but it still has those values, still has those lines, still believes things like love matter, still believes that the individual person has an inner life that they wish to see made real in their outer life. That is the whole idea of the statue. You can interpret this in a very Reddit tier modernistic lens, as I was joking around about, as this sort of incel who has like a waifu body pillow and, oh, I wish she was alive. And yeah, you can do that, and you can play the Agalmites up as pretty pathetic, and it can be interesting. You can play them that way. But it's go to the mythology. Think about what this is. This is love, just inner love that you wish to put out into the world, but you can't find something to latch on. So you make something to be a sort of, I guess, talisman of that love. And again, this is not just in the romantic way. These are builders who build not just because it's their job, not just because it has some pragmatic end goal, but because they care about it. They have these feelings and these ambitions and this desire to make something, to share what's inside of them with the outside world. And so they make buildings and statues. They make places where you can live. They make stable, sturdy homes. So when you go inside a house that an Agalmite has built for you, you're not just living inside a stone house. You are living inside of someone else's love that they have given up to you. They have taken their love and used stone to turn it into a home for you. That is truly, truly beautiful. And you can play that up. You can play that up. Even when they're not the protagonist, even when they're just protagonist embers, or even just neutral embers, you can show that. You can show how it feels to come to these people, who have their divinity, and you're talking about your divinity, and it's this situation where you think it might be a debate. You think, the way it usually is in Quebec, you're going to come to some religious conflict, possibly even violence. That Agalmite says, look, man, I don't care. You worship Damar, I don't really care. You worship Tahul, good for you. You worship even Pelgan, who many of Agalma's followers disdain. They say, look, I'm a builder. I want to make something permanent. If you want to be a part of that, if you want to give me the money I need to do that, then you can have it. Right? Just making it is enough. I'll make a house. I want to make a house. I want it to be beautiful. I want it to be everything I am poured into it. And you can have that. You can have that because making it is enough. Right? And so you can play a character who has that mindset, who wants to build something and make it as grand as possible. You want to build an empire of stone and love. For Agalma is known as stone love, and you can do that. Now you can also play them up as antagonists, but it has to be done carefully. Yes, like in any religion, some Agalmites are going to be bad people, but that's not really the most interesting way you can play it up because then you're not playing with their faith. Imagine your characters are enforcers or followers of that court of order. Hellenites, Legionites, Joustians, Xanthar. And for a while, you've been fighting against these demons and these magi. You've been killing them, bringing them great justice in the name of your glorious gods, bringing them to heal. And yeah, it's pretty easy. I mean, some of the magi have their own agendas and maybe good things they want to do, but generally they're going to be fighting you. They're going to be calling upon spirits. They're going to be controlling people. You know, the demons are just fucking evil. The Court of Freedom, that group of people, they're getting up to all sorts of trouble, rebelling. But now you come to an enemy. What's the enemy? Ordinary people. Ordinary people who don't want to cause trouble. They don't want to cause problems for society. Agalma wants to join the court of order. She won't because Legion's in there and she refuses to join that court while he's in there. But these people, they want to live orderly lives. They want to do what the government tells them to do. They don't want to fuck with you. But they are locked in a metaphysical struggle against your side of things. And they believe in this. And they're willing to stand up against what you stand for. And so, how will your players react when they have to stand against, maybe even kill these ordinary people? How does that change your game when your badass Elysians and Hellenites who have been fighting in the name of civilization and order, striking down the wicked, now come to the local Masons Guild, men with families, kids, and go in and bring the hammer down on these good people. Makes for a very interesting moral quandary. Something great to challenge your players with. Now, Agalma herself. Let's talk about her. How is she going to come up in your games? Now, Agalma does give omens through masonry. The book talks about it through patterns in masonry, cracks in masonry, and also through the pullings of your heartstrings, through feelings of tragedy and love. She does all that. But I add something in my games with Agalma. She is not like in the spirit realm. Like she can go there. She is divine. She does have power over death in the underworld, which Tuhul has allowed her, and there's sort of an alliance between those faiths. A strained alliance, but still an alliance. But she generally just exists in the fleshlands as a thinking, living statue. You can go and find her. And in my game, she lives in Baal. She lives she lives underneath the Temple of Agalma in Baal, and any Pharim who wants can go and speak to her. And with some inner workings, with some agreements with the faith, even non-Pharims could come and speak to her. She also has a very she might even leave occasionally to go and speak to people. You can be in Baal and you can see a divinity, this statue, walk out. This This 10-foot tall statue of a beautiful fair woman, dressed modestly but still with a pleasing form. You can see her coming out and speaking. And I give her a sort of understated Southern Belle accent, a very, very intellectual verbiage, very, very smart, very good at speaking, very, what's the word, eloquent, but she uses simple words. She talks about, I know you folks are struggling. I know that life is hard. I know that you just want to get by and do what you can. And I'm here for you, but we all got to work together. And put your faith in me, and I will put my faith in you. And yeah, she's good. She's kind. She's not offended by blasphemies. People who say, oh, fuck Agalma. She knows those people are just hurting. She knows those people have drank the Kool-Aid. If they knew what she was, if they knew what she really wanted, if 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 they weren't in so much pain, they would at least be okay with her. How could you not be okay with someone who just wants to help? But there are blasphemies that offend her. The works of hell, the taking of souls, the destroying of lives, the vain desire to give everything to the self and to take your inner life, and instead of putting it out there, to just go deeper and deeper in. And above all, the destruction of that which is built from creativity and beauty and hard work. And so, when you're going through the slums, busting down those farmhouses, yeah, they're not great, but they're doing the best with what they have. You might draw the ire of Agalma, and you might find statues walking towards you, and they may look upon you, and they may say, you have sinned! This has been built, and you have destroyed it, you hateful inferno servant of hell! And they bring that great hammer down upon you! Because Agalma has a very simple and straightforward agenda that you can factor in when she's interacting with your players. And she can very easily be an NPC in your game. She can come up to status 0 characters and not have them just shitting their pants in awe. She can control that. She can draw them in and just talk to them. She's not gonna just demand, praise me! She'll talk to them. And she wants to bring her husband back from hell so that she can make him her avatar, so that she can live forever in love, married to him. And then she wants to destroy the devil and free the souls from hell and build, both literally and metaphorically, a better world. A world where you don't have to worry about the roof caving in on you. A world where you don't have to worry about your house burning down. A world where you don't have to worry about bums and criminals coming in and mugging you. A world where you don't have to worry about the tax man and the tyrants grinding you under your boot. A world where you don't have to worry about these vain princesses of cinder ruining your life over the most mild slight. A world where the spite and bitterness of El Sam is drowned out by real love and real tragedy. Not this self-destructive shame and guilt, but an honest, earnest, deeply felt, tearful sadness that gives way to love and joy. In a world where nobody has to worry about being dragged down to hell and tortured for all eternity. And most importantly, a world where Nobody has to be alone. And I admit, like, I don't like the idea of games as therapy. That's kind of gay and lame. But, you know, I'm a lonely guy. Like, I do find that beautiful, just out of character. And that's something, just me in real life. I look at that and I'm like, damn, that's just fucking beautiful, that's just cool. And that's something I would love to play. I would love to play someone who wants that, is interested in that agenda, and who would speak to Agalma and listen to her. And you can have that. You can have her come to players and realize that how that affects her, and also that she is to some degree a being of the underworld because she was made by beings of the underworld. She's not just this pure emotions and love and sentimentality. She's practical. She gets that the better world isn't going to metaphorically come unless it literally comes too. Unless you have better houses, better towns, all that practicality. She's going to talk about that. She's going to say the first step to having a better life isn't going inside of yourself and knowing something. No, it's going in, taking something out of yourself and putting it out there. You're worried about being robbed. There's not a lot you can do now, but you can build a stone wall around your property. You can get together with others. Because the worship of the Agalma is a very egalitarian thing. You're not bowing down to Agalma. No, you're getting together with like-minded individuals who also love Agalma and who love what she has to say, and you're building shit. You're building houses. You're houses for the homeless. You're giving people jobs. Uh, um, you're overseeing weddings. You're overseeing funerals. You're setting a good example for the people around you. You're not just thinking. You're not just praying. You're not just feeling. And you're not doing what Sanites do, which is to totally deny the self, to totally, no, you're integrating the self into the other. You're not denying your wants and desires. Quite the opposite. You're understanding your wants and desires and how much you want what you want. And you're trying to get that. But then you're taking the time to think about the fact that, well, that guy over there, he probably wants what he wants just as much as I want what I want. And it's not fair for me to take that opportunity away from him, just as it's not fair for him to take it away from me. And so there's that practicality mixed with altruism. And Agalma has powerful enemies. Cinder, Elsam, the Enforcers. So she's an underdog, and so that's going to play up in the way you interact with her, in the way you interact with these faiths. Agalmites aren't stupid. They keep their heads down. If they tried to have a big stand against the evil of the world, they'd all get wiped out. But also remember that they do believe and they do someday hope to be victorious in their altruistic goal. And that these are people who eschew things like vanity and selfish desire, and overly passions that are not controlled by wisdom. It's not passion Agalma is against. It's passion that is not reined in by wisdom. All those things of cinder, they oppose. They oppose spite. They oppose unwarranted guilt and shame, or at least unproductive guilt and shame. They oppose selfishness. All those things of Elsam, they push those away. These are people who, above all, oppose pride. They oppose pride, self-obsession, greedy bargaining, and lying in the name of the devil. For that is the one they oppose the most. That is one Agalma opposes the most. So there's so much you can do with this cult. You run a whole game of Agalmites and it can be great. You can meet Agalma, you can meet the Agalmites, you can find their churches in communities, for their churches are always going to be a part of the community, no matter what, because they're builders and they love the people around them. They want to help them. And so it can be great to have people come into a town, village, or whatever. There's a local temple or even just a shrine to Agalma, and there's people working there. Your characters can get jobs. You can do things. You can be intrigued by this cult. And it's, some would say, the one way towards salvation the Farum people have. So it's something I highly recommend playing into. It's a great divinity. And I mean, I just got really passionate about it in this video. I'm not even sure this is a good video, but I hope it is, because I've just been gushing over how cool Agalma is and how much you can do with her, and the story behind her creation and everything. But I do want to leave you with one more thing. When playing an Agalma, which I highly recommend you do, you want to play someone with ambition. You want to play someone who wants to create something that will last longer than them. And many Agalmites are going to last a long time. They're Pharaohs who are along with people, and they tend to live healthy, constructive lifestyles. And so, yes, the altruism, but I've seen so often it misplayed of these naive, sentimental, woe is me sort of down in the gutter individuals. And that's not the right way to play it. These are practical, thoughtful people who have soaring ideals, but they know they're in the real world. And they know it's going to be ages until they reach that ideal. And so I don't think it would be very interesting to play an impatient or overly dramatic or sensitive Agalma. So make sure you're playing a character who's mature and thoughtful, because that's what Agalma is looking for. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. The Oste video should be coming out relatively soon. Uh, and I'm really trying to make more frequent videos. I don't know if that's really gonna happen yet, so I can't make any promises. I do also want to say, watch Black Lodge games, subscribe to their locals. It's really cheap. Unless you're riffraff, please, if you're vile troglodytes, don't do that. They don't want you. I'm in that community. I don't want you in that community. Watch Andrew Wood's videos, yeah. And I also want to say one more thing. Uh, I am going to be running a live game on this channel, and it's something that I want to be really good. I know it's not going to be super like deeply entertaining. Live plays are either like Critical Role and they're entertaining, but it's not real role playing. Um, or they're real role playing, but real role playing is not something in my mind intended for an audience. But this is not for like the average public. This is not like a show that's just supposed to be like, oh sweet, this is such a cool plot line. This live game is going to be a love letter to the immersive style of role playing. It's going to be a love letter to sort of simulationist immersion, and above all, it's a love letter to Within the Ring of Fire, a creation, much like Agalma, that has brought me a massive amount of joy and happiness and just willpower in just engaging in this hobby and this awesome, weird, bizarre game. And so anyone who would be interested, because I am short on players. One player right now, and I want 3 or 4 players in total. Please, please, if you are able, consider joining this game. I guarantee it will be good. I am a fantastic flame tender with a lot of experience. This is probably the only game I have system mastery over, with World of Darkness maybe in a close second. Please, please reach out to me. Reach out to me if you are not a vile troglodyte. If you are someone interested in the immersive style, if you are a member of the Within the Ring of Fire community, please, please reach out to me if you want to be a part of this. And thank you all so much for watching. I don't do this shit for money. I don't do this shit for even like a major like quality or art or whatever. I just do this stuff for all of you who like Within the Ring of Fire, who like the immersive style, and who you just you feel like your little niche thing. There's no one out there who's into your little niche thing. There's no one out there who's as passionate about this as you are. Well, I am, and I think this is really cool. And if you're into this sort of thing, I think you're pretty cool. And thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I even appreciate the little gremlins who I've never had negative comments, but if somebody watches my video and hates them, I love you too, because that's funny. I, I think it's funny. I'm glad. I'm glad that me just expressing myself and giving my views and talking about an amazing hobby. I'm glad that that makes you upset, because if you're the sort of person who gets upset about that, you deserve to be upset. So I love anyone who watches my videos for any reason, whether it's you like the videos, you hate the videos, you're curious, you just stumbled on them, and please like and subscribe, just so more people find these videos. And thank you very much, and have a great day. And remember, the statues are always watching. So think twice before you look down on that blue collar working man, because there's someone out there who cares a whole hell of a lot about him.